Welcome everyone to another video here. Here I'm telling you about unfolding 3D space into 2D space. And what exactly do I mean by unfolding 3D space into 2D space, and how do we do that? So to unfold 3D space into 2D space, we must take a look at the 3D room as an example, okay? As one three-dimensional room. So that's the room here. Now, what we need to do now is grab any point of the room. However, this, when we're unfolding into two-dimensional space, remember this key. It's not entirely two-dimensional. There will be a slight thickness into that. However, we think what it's like if the room is unfolded into a two-dimensional screen. For example, if this room was unfolded, it will be a massive, massive board. Actually, all the space that's from the center point, you have to grab the center of the room, then peel that out. Like you grab the center of a room and you extend that. Like an example to think about this is like a cylinder with a, then you're unfolding it. This, depending on which side you are, actually, or the space that's even behind you right now, that's in front of me, that you cannot see right now because it's in front of the camera, it's just behind the camera. You can't see that right. You can't see over there, for example. You'd also be able to see that in one screen as it turned into two-dimensional. You are unfolding the space from three-dimensional to two-dimensional space. So how will this go like? So, how would this go like? First of all, the 3D space has unfolded. You start from the central point, as an example, unfolding it. And the things will be flattened. Because you're flattening the things, each item would also be more flatter. However, we are not making it truly two-dimensional. We are adding a thickness. So we can say that there'll be no more than this much of thickness into the respective example. We're not going to make it super, super thin like the Planck lengths, because if we did that, then the object will extend really wide, and that would not look very good. What we're trying to do here is trying to see how the space would look like unfolded, and you can probably imagine that already. You can probably imagine that if you got in 3D and it went into 2D, your tree is way over there, your tree, your bench, and all that is there, and that is way over there, and that once you put them together, their respective place, it makes sense if you think about this. And so we can start off doing this as unfolding the wall behind me, or the wall that's in front, put it back so you can see what's in there, and we can start doing that instead, and just leave the space there, and that way we can walk in a one directional movement like this, as looking at one dimensional, and we're going to see how this would look like, one dimensionals, in fact, that's what will happen, you see. So unfolding the space from 3D to 2D is possible. In fact, you can actually pick up the center of the space and peel it out, actually. As long as there is some thickness to give it a sense of respect, or you just have the point, like a singularity, unfolding this. How big would that be? You know what I mean? How wide would the space be, And, how will it look like, An example of this, if you're unfolding space from 3D to 2D, it will look very interesting, and it will look very cool how you can go from 3D to a flatness, and you just literally just unfolded it. You see, that's interesting, you see. I'll speak about that more later in a different video, once I do a bit more research. I'll see you, once I do a bit of more research, I'll see you guys, bye.